So my long-time friend Say Hi Paul has extended the I Am a Wargamer challenge to myself and the Claw. So let's go through it. For those who haven't seen me before, I'm Stormshroud and I'm one half of the Fast Panda Gaming channel. So question one was, how did you get into gaming? Well, it was back when I was 11, I think. My parents bought me a copy of the MB Games Hero Quest. Probably just thinking that'll keep him quiet for a few hours, and little realising the monster they were going to create. From there I got bought the old Skeleton Army box set, which was, an entire army in a box for 12 quid. Can't see GW doing that now. And that was it. Throughout my childhood years I played Fantasy Battle, a bit of 40k, faded away from it as I got into my late teens and went on to university. I got more into role-playing games and live role-play with the aforementioned Say Hi Paul. Came back to mini wargaming in my early 20s, played 40k, but I've always had an interest in rule systems and finding out how different designers have solved the same problems you get in different games. That's why I pick up rule sets. I think I've got over a dozen miniature wargaming rules upstairs that I haven't even played. I just bought the rule books to find out how they worked. And through that I found other games that I enjoyed. But my main game now is Infinity. Brilliant game by Corvus Belli out of Spain. If you've not played it, I just highly recommend you check it out. N4 is going to launch in a couple of weeks. Ideal time to pick it up. The second question was, why did you start a YouTube channel? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. It seemed like a good idea at the time. We wanted to have a bit of fun, me and Claw, and create some Infinity content that wasn't always ITS, so try and do a bit more narrative stuff. So yeah, it wasn't a deliberate plan. It was definitely more of an accident. And the last question I have to answer is, what advice would I give someone starting on YouTube? Well, I am definitely not the right person to ask for that. We've only been doing it for a few months. If you like a challenge and you like learning new stuff, it's great for that, because I've had to learn how to video edit, how to stand in front of a camera, something I've never done. Video editing, something I've never done. Creating animations, something I've never done. So if you like learning new stuff, go for it. I think other people have said this, as long as you're having fun doing it, crack on. I've definitely got a lot more respect for people who create videos on YouTube now. I have a much more of an appreciation of how much effort goes into it. I think that's me. You might be wondering why I'm still in the building site. That's because I've noticed everybody else seems to be filming these in their hobby space, and my hobby space is currently a building site, but I might as well go with the trend. And I'll pass you over now to my fellow Fast Panda, the Claw, for his answers.
Thanks, Stormshroud, and thank you for nominating me. Say hi, Paul, and we'll get to you later. I am a wargamer, yay! And I've got 3 questions to ask. Apparently, how did I get into wargaming? How did I start on YouTube? And any advice for YouTubers? So, without further ado, first question: how did I get into wargaming? Well, that's when I was knee-high to a grasshopper. And I was the youngest brother, and my older brother was 3 years older than me, and he had cooler friends, and I used to like to try and tag along, and he played D&D and a few other bits and pieces like that back in the day. It's very vague because we are talking over 40 years ago, and there were miniatures, there were dragons, and there was knights, and there was ogres, and there was goblins and all that kind of thing, all little painted miniatures, and they were fascinated me. I kind of fell in love with them then at that point. And as time goes on, a new game, a science fiction game, and because I always liked science fiction, I'm a Star Wars kind of era kind of child, and science fiction was always always kept in my imagination as well. And then there was a game called Rogue Trader, and that came out and hit the shelves, and my brother kind of got it, I think, or did I? Well, we got it roughly the same time, and it had all the different metal models in that, and that was brilliant. Like a science fiction game. I can't remember a proper game we played of Rogue Trader fully. All I can remember are bits and pieces and the miniatures. I can remember the miniatures. I can remember having the metal dreadnought that looks like a figure 8 when you take the arms and legs off. And the speeder bikes. And we had a trike with a multi-melter on it. And things like that. Way back in the mist of time. And that's how I started in 40k. And I did a little bit more, and I can remember playing with some mates, mostly my brother's mates, in Chesterfield, and I got myself a squat army. Space Wolves! Bring back Space Wolves! And they were fantastic, and I even converted old AT-AT to be a walker for them, and I remember putting it on the table and all the other people around it because they were in a massive match, and it just destroyed the AT-AT, and all my squats died, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And obviously after then I found that playing role-playing games, I started dibbling into role-playing games, Cthulhu and things like that, and at the same time I then found girls. And along came beer and girls, and then the hiatus. And the hobby was barren for a few years, up until 2005. Now in 2005, it's a big thing that happened to me. My dad died quite young, bowel cancer, so if there's an issue, go and get it checked out. And that hit me really hard. And I wanted something to take my mind away from things at the time. Something just to have a break, so I didn't think about things and what I should have done and what I shouldn't have done. So picking up a model, I thought, well, I used to like picking up models and painting them. So picking up models and painting was what I wanted to do. So I picked up a copy of Battle for McCraig, and I started painting. And I've still got some of the old miniatures somewhere, probably up here. And it looked like I painted them with a stick, but it took my mind away from the issues I was having at the time, and it allowed me to spread out my grief a little bit more and process things. Because when I was painting, that's all I was doing, I was painting. And it took me away from everything that was bothering me. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant hobby time at that point in my life was what I needed, and it was fresh air. That and learning to paint one-handed, that was a big challenge, but I did it and I got there, and my painting's not bad. Just check out my Instagram. After that I thought, well, I want to play it. I've painted all these models, I want to play this game. So I reached out to the interweb, and there was a strange guy replied, a guy called Stormshroud. He replied and said, well, why don't you come down to Rise? So I did. I met a guy off the internet and I didn't get murdered. Bonus. And through him I met, say, Hi Paul and a few other guys about Halifax and Roundabout and Colin and everybody else. We all kind of got together as a little group, a little meta. And we had many games of 40k. And because Stormshroud is a kleptomaniac of games and game systems, he kept throwing game systems at us. And one day he gave up trying to convince us to buy this stuff and just bought us all a starter set of Infinity. And then I got all the Infinity, and that was like a grown-up game. It was like an eyes open thing. We started playing Infinity, and I had a left, and from there it really was great. And Infinity's been there in the background for a long time, but now it's kind of exploded, obviously. Now, also played Guild Ball and Dystopian Wars and a few other bits and pieces, but the main game was 40k for a long time, until the end of 8th, when I've decided to jump off the crazy train a little bit to concentrate on the other games, because the other games are great, and I like their systems a little bit more, and I like their models a little bit more. I also like beer and pretzels games, like Star Wars Legion. That looks like a nice beer and pretzel games, and X-Wing, because Star Wars, love Star Wars. And so yeah, that's where I am now. I'm playing lots of games, mostly Infinity, but lots of little games on the side. Gaslands, that's quite fun. Blood Bowl. So I'm Titanicus. Titanicus is great. 40k, occasionally 40k. I went down to see Hi Paul's the other day. I gave him 40k. brilliant, really good. First game of 9th edition. Yeah, it's okay. You've only got so much time and energy and money to spend on this hobby, so it's a balancing act. But yeah, that's how I got into wargaming. It was my big brother. And saying my big brother, one model that he had as a kid, and I coveted the model. It was a guy on a horse. It's like a skull axe, pickaxe thing. He also had a model that was on foot. And I coveted these. So yes, it's that model's fault that I'm in a wargaming. And, especially for you, bro, I stole them because I'm your little brother. So the guy on the horse, he's here. And the guy on foot, he's here. So I stole them because I'm that kind of guy. Well, I was when I was that big. And I'll come to you. Look, it's really not very good, but that got me into wargaming. That model really got me into wargaming. Next question: how did I get into YouTube? Well, that's Say Hi Paul's fault. He said, "Have you watched this guy called Winters?" And I said, "No." He says, "Watch him." So I did, and I watched a few of his videos, then some more, and then some more, and then I listened to his voice in my head as I was going shopping because I'd listened to loads of them. And he says, "Well, why don't you come down? We'll have a 4-way game of chaos." I said, "All right," and it was brilliant, really good fun. And I did a couple others, and I also went to SorcererDave's channel. Been on his a couple of times. Really nice guy. We'll come to him again later. And Say Hi Paul. We filmed a couple with him. Some never saw this light of day, which is one of those, which is a shame because they're good games. I don't mind being videos. It's just good fun, really. And plus, it kind of cements those wins, all those losses, all those struggles, all those moments in time, so you can go back to them if you're narcissistic and watch them all. So yeah, that's how Fast Panda came along, because I was looking for a project myself, and Stormshroud says, why don't we do something for Infinity, because there's not really anything out there that we want to watch that's got fully painted armies and fully painted scenery. And we want to do some more narrative games because you don't get that on YouTube so much. So that's what we want to do. So that's what we did. Set up Fast Panda and away we went. So that's how we got into making YouTube videos. Okay. Advice for people just getting into making YouTube videos. Take time. When you're doing a video, take your time. It takes many, many, many more times longer to film a video, to film a battle report than just play it. Take your time, set your shots up, and look through the camera. Don't do looking over the top of the camera to see what's actually going on. Look through the camera. Very simple tip, but it's there. It's one of those things that we've had to learn, as well as all the other stuff like editing and things like Stormshroud has already said. But yeah, just look through the camera. Biggest tip, look through the camera. And with that, I'm going to nominate 2 others, because I only know 2. The first one is Infinity Gamer, and he's down on New Zealand. Watching his stuff, he's got a lovely voice. So if you've never seen his stuff, just check him out. And the other one is SorcererDave. He's a legend. He keeps on doing this. He keeps on turning out stuff. Even though his 40k stuff doesn't earn him the same as his gaming stuff, he still makes it because he loves the game and he's got this narrative and he loves the narrative. So Infinity Gamer and SorcererDave, you are nominated and you need to answer those 3 questions. And with that, thank you. Oh, and if there's any doubt on my wargaming eclecticness, there's Legion, 40k, Gaslands, Infinity, Squigolf. It will get finished one day. For those who know me, it will get finished one day. So yeah, that's yeah, you can tell, kind of a wargamer.